What's up, everybody, and welcome back to episode 5 of my Making a Murderer review, where we're looking back at every episode and looking back at the timeline of events, of things that happened during the first season of Making a Murderer, the Netflix series. If you have not seen Making a Murderer, go watch Making a Murderer first on Netflix and then come back here and watch it. It is worth it, even if you don't have Netflix. Go get Netflix just to watch this particular documentary. So at the end of episode 4, we left off with the Avery defense team discovering that there was a pinhole in the top of the blood vial that they found in the 1985 case file. A hole big enough for a needle, which they believe blood was extracted from and planted at the scene in specifically Teresa Halbach's RAV4. So episode number 5 starts off with Stephen Avery saying, now there's a chance the truth will come out, and one of Avery's lawyers, Jerry Budding, saying the state was freaked out. I could absolutely imagine how much the state was freaked out when they see a hole in the top of the blood vial, when they already know that part of the defense is that Stephen Avery was set up, that he was framed, that they think evidence was planted at the scene. This is definitely looking like the defense was correct. The state moves to exclude, get rid of the blood vial. The state wants the judge to allow the FBI to run a test to prove the blood didn't come from the vial and that it wasn't planted. So the state is already on top of the fact that they think people are gonna think more than they already do that the state planted evidence in this case. And of course, the judge allows it. The judge allows the FBI to run a test to try and prove that the blood did not come from the blood vial. The defense wants special instructions given to the jury about the 3 new charges because of the pre-trial publicity this case is getting, meaning the 3 new charges that they added onto Stephen Avery after Brendan Dassey was arrested. If the state doesn't call Brendan as a witness, I can't imagine how horrible that would be if they call Brendan as a witness. But if the state doesn't call Brendan as a witness, the defense wants those 3 charges removed because he is the reason they were added, and if he cannot testify to them, then they should be kicked out of there. The state agrees to move 2 of the 3 charges that were added, sexual assault and kidnapping. The charges are now first-degree intentional homicide, mutilation of a corpse, felony possession of a firearm, and false imprisonment. Now, they're getting rid of the sexual assault and the kidnapping. Does that mean that the drawing that Mike O'Kelly had Brendan do of having sex with Teresa Halbach wasn't necessary, because the state didn't believe it happened anyway? So because they are unwilling to call Brendan as a witness to that event, that they get rid of that charge? Is it because they know Brendan isn't going to lie on the stand? He's going to state what he knows, which was the story that he's already told multiple times. I bet you that is why the state did not call Brendan as a witness, because they knew he was going to tell the truth on the stand. I guarantee it. Stephen Avery's lawyers think it's going to be hard to find an impartial jury because of the pre-trial publicity, meaning most of the people in Manitowoc County and Calumet County, they did like a survey. When they interviewed people, they had the majority of the forms come back of people saying that they already think he's guilty. So they think it's going to be hard to get an impartial jury. Stephen Avery's trial begins February 12th, 2007. The opening statement, Ken Kratz talks about all the reasons if Stephen Avery is guilty. He also states that because Stephen was exonerated from the previous crime that he was in jail for 18 years that he didn't do, does not mean he did not commit this crime. He then calls Teresa a little girl, catches himself, and then calls her a young woman. That's really strange. Jerry, not in case, they cut to a scene of where he is just in, they're just doing an interview with him. Jerry, Teresa's bones were found on the Avery property. That is unfortunately true, but there is evidence those bones were moved. And he states not everybody knows they know this yet. This hasn't come out in the media yet. He says there's evidence the bones were moved. He doesn't trust the FBI at all, thinks they will lie about the blood vial. They're not worried about the key at all because of the amount of searches it took to find the key. In the opening statement on Stephen Avery's case, Dean Strang says Lenk and Colburn were involved in depositions and then they were involved in the search. How do you have someone that is involved in depositions against somebody and then they're the ones that go search the property for evidence? That's just wacko bonkers. Lenk called Calumet County and offered to get involved in the case once he heard that Stephen Avery was involved. A light went off in his head, probably the first one ever, because he was like, oh, this is our way to get out of those depositions. We can make sure Stephen Avery goes down for this crime, because they didn't call him, he called them. Then the defense plays a phone call recording. Detective Jacobs, do we have a body? Dispatch says no. Do we have Stephen Avery in custody? Do we have Stephen Avery in custody? Fair question. If there was a body found, if they knew he did it, if he was suspected of doing anything at this point in time. This was 30 minutes after the RAV4 was found. 30 minutes after the day of no body yet. Bone fragment wouldn't be found for a few more days, 3 more days, I believe. So why 30 minutes? Teresa could have still been alive at this point. They don't know. Still, why wasn't anyone else a suspect? Why didn't they ask if they had anybody else in custody? Nope. 30 minutes after the RAV4 was found, they're asking if they have a body. They're asking if, I guess they could have found the body in the RAV4. Fair statement. But fair question, Stephen Avery in custody? Why is he automatically the guy? Then we flash back to November 9th, 2005. Weirgart and Fossbender interrogate Stephen Avery the day he is arrested. Stephen Avery states, I walked into the house, put the book Teresa gave me down next to the computer, and he was going to go over to Bobby, but when he came out, Bobby's vehicle was gone. Bobby was going hunting that day. What did Bobby go hunting for? Whoever did this, my opinion, knew, and the opinion of everybody, not just mine, I feel that whoever did this knew Stephen Avery was going to be an easy target to set up, because they knew the town, the police already did not like him. Bobby Dassey, Brendan's brother, is on the stand. He lives next door. Now this is his statement. He said he saw Teresa walk towards Stephen Avery's home, said he left at 2:45 to go hunting, said Teresa's car was still there when he left, but he did not see her. Now, they stated an hour later, that's when Brendan got home, right? Brendan got home at 3:45 and he could already hear the screams. So what was going on right now? Theoretically, what was going on right now? Nothing. That's what was going on right now. Said Teresa's car was still there, but he didn't see her. And on November the 3rd, Avery joked with Bobby Dassey, Brendan's brother, about asking him if he wanted to have help getting rid of the body. An awful joke. Terrible joke. I'm not saying Stephen Avery is a wonderful human being, but that doesn't mean he should be arrested for murder that he didn't do. So let's this is ridiculous. I can't even. I can't even believe I can actually make this statement that this is a thing that the state thinks happens. During this torture, rape of Teresa Halbach's murder, these are the things that Steven Avery has done so far. He stops and answers the door, invites Brendan to join, talks to his fiancée Jody for 15 minutes during these events. Where was Brendan during the phone conversation that supposedly happened, by the way? And then 4 days later, 3-4 days later, asks Bobby to help get rid of the body. Man, this guy is doing anything but trying to keep this crime a secret. Inviting people to join, talking on the phone, asking, hey, want to help me get rid of the body? This is insane. Insane. The defense files a mistrial motion because there's no written statement ever that Bobby Dassey ever said that before. The mistrial motion is because of false testimony. Now, this statement was kind of different worded, was made to one of Bobby Dassey's friends, Mike, on November the 10th. Not November the 3rd, but November the 10th. That's why there's a mistrial motion, because the defense has testimony from this Mike fellow that Steven joked and asked, or that Mike joked and asked Steven if he had her locked up in his closet. Again, horrible jokes to be made in this situation, in any situation involving something like this. Just absolutely terrible jokes. But that was made on the 10th by Mike, not on the 3rd by Bobby. So this is why the defense is trying to get a mistrial. Now, Ken Kratz goes out to the media after all of this. The media asks Ken Kratz where November 3rd came from. He said it came from Bobby. The media jumps all over that and said, no, it came from you. Then they read back the statement. And Ken Kratz states he doesn't think it's a big deal, that he interviews his witnesses ahead of time. That's where the date came from. But you need to turn over all this evidence to the defense first. If that actually happened, which it didn't. So he's kind of, I think he felt that the media was going to be on his side during all of this, that they did not think that they were going to jump on the side of Steven Avery for anything ever. So he just thought this would slide by. But that media definitely didn't let that slide, and nor should they, because that was a huge mess up on the part of the prosecution. The media then questions / makes a statement to Dean Strang. They say it was never Bobby that told that joke, that it was Mike that told that joke, and it was on the 10th and not the 3rd. Dean Strang, Steven's lawyer, states, you are correct. Now, of course, Judge Patrick Willis denies the mistrial motion and does not give the jury any special instructions in regards to Bobby Dassey's testimony. Also, in a pretrial ruling, the defense is not allowed to offer any alternatives as to who think they committed these crimes. Isn't that the whole point of a trial? To figure out who committed these crimes? And if you can't scientifically pin it on somebody else, it's going to give the defense a very hard time to prove who did it. If you can't be like, this guy did it, Steven didn't do it, it's going to be hard to prove. And why would the judge allow them not to be able to accuse anybody else? That's really strange. That it just goes to show, in my opinion, how far up allegedly this cover-up went. The judge was clearly had to have known something. There's too much weird information for so many people not to be involved. Mike Halbach, Teresa's brother, takes the stand. He says that Teresa's voicemail was full and that he thought, now I can understand this, he thought that listening to the voicemail may help find her. He didn't, he said he knew her password, so he checked them. Said he listened to all the voicemails, said he doesn't believe he deleted any. Fair statement. Her brother trying to help out. I'm going like logically here, like what should go on. So her brother was worried. her voicemail was full. He knew the password. He checked it to find out if there's any information. I can totally get behind that. I'd probably do the same thing. Tony Zimmerman, someone that works for Singular Wireless, I believe was the cell phone company, going over the cell phone records, says the phone was not used after that date on 2:41 p.m., but the amount of messages in her cell phone at the time would not have been enough to fill up her voicemail. One or more messages would have been deleted or removed. Jerry Budding, Stephen's lawyer, states, why delete those messages? They may have helped. They may have had clues. If Mike Halbach, Teresa's brother, didn't erase those messages, then who did? Tom Pierce, a colleague of Teresa Halbach, said that he was with her one time and her phone was blowing up, and she stated, oh, not them again. He questioned if she needed help. He said no. He's like, give me the number. I'll call them and see what's up. She was like, no, don't worry about it. But he said, Teresa stated that this number was calling her at all hours, and she definitely seemed spooked about it, but he didn't know who it was, and she didn't tell him who it was. Jerry Budding, Stephen's lawyer, states the voicemail was opened on November 2nd. Ken Kratz gets upset in court, saying that if he believes, if Jerry is going to state that he believes that she was alive on November 2nd, they have a right to know that. Jerry states he does not believe that she was alive on November 2nd, but her voicemail was definitely accessed by somebody. And unless the state thinks Stephen Avery had her voicemail password, he wasn't the one listening to those voicemails. I don't think Stephen had her, unless her password was 1234 or password. Stephen Avery didn't have her password. The judge asks the state who accessed the voicemail. Ken Kratz doesn't really answer that question. Kind of blows it off, but doesn't give a clear, precise answer. Jerry says it was never investigated who accessed the voicemail. Then the judge rules he doesn't see the relevance of this particular situation. Are you kidding me? How do you not see the relevance of this particular situation? This is ridiculous. Stephen Avery states, not in court anymore, Stephen Avery states, how can I be the last one to see her alive? I saw her leave. It's because always speculation that the last person to see someone alive is probably the person that killed her. But Stephen Avery states he was not the last person to see her alive. Teresa left whatever time she left the Avery property. Bobby Dassey was already leaving to go hunting. Could he have been the one that followed her and then did something and then framed his uncle? I don't know. Seems like a definite possible scenario, but that was never investigated. Why would it have been? Special Agent Tom Fassbender takes the stand. He's a co-lead investigator of this case. Jerry Budding asks him, family members, ex-boyfriend, people close to the victim are usually the ones that are investigated first for murder, or how about a roommate, Scott, that doesn't report the disappearance for 4 days? Tom Fassbender says yes. Jerry says the police never investigated any of them. Ever? Ryan Hillegrass, Teresa's ex-boyfriend, figured out her password, made up her voicemail password, made her phone records password, made up a username that worked to access her phone records to try and find out information that could help. Again, this guy's weird to me. I don't know. In a normal situation, I could get behind that. You're an ex-boyfriend, you're still a friend, you're trying to access phone records, trying to do anything you can. I would do the same to try and find out what happened to my friend. But, I don't know, there's something weird about how he grins and smiles on the stand when he says this. Like, haha! This was funny that I did this. I don't know, there's something fishy about this dude. He said police never asked him or Scott, Teresa's roommate, for an alibi. Jerry Budding to Ryan, you were allowed to search in areas that were not available to the general public. He was allowed to cross certain lines in the search that the general public was not allowed. He said yes. Ryan said he gave Pamela a map. A map of what? They don't really say. Is it the map of like the salvage yard? Like what's this map of? And said she offered to search the Avery salvage yard. Scott, Teresa's roommate, gave Pamela a digital camera in case they found something. Okay. But Pamela was the only person giving a digital camera. Maybe she was given that digital camera because no one had searched the Avery salvage yard yet. So in case they found something, they wanted her to have a camera to take pictures of it. Sure. Or they knew the RAV4 was already there, so they gave her a camera to go take pictures of it. I'm going with option number 2 because she found that, we'll get to this in a second, I'm jumping ahead, but she found this RAV4 within like 10 minutes on a 40-acre salvage yard. Are you kidding me? On November 5th, Stephen Avery is at his cabin 96 miles north. Brother Earl Avery is running the business. Earl allows them to search the Avery salvage yard. They had to get permission. So Earl gives them permission to search the yard, probably because he didn't think there was anything there. Pamela and Nicole find the RAV4 on a 40-acre lot within 10 to 15 minutes. Pamela said God led them the way. I don't even know what to say about that. She probably believes it, but that's some luck. That's some luck. Jerry Budding states, I don't believe her. She seems weird. They went right to it. They knew it was there. Someone directed them. Like, what was on the map? X marks the spot. The RAV4 is there. Go find it within 10 minutes. Stephen Avery states, I don't know who Tammy is, but Stephen Avery states Tammy told him a cop put the car there and planted evidence. Then they cut to a scene of Andrew Colburn on the stand where he's listening to a phone call where he calls in the plate numbers of the RAV4. Dispatch tells him that's it. It's listed to a missing person, Teresa Hallbach. He says it's a 99 Toyota. Dispatcher says yes. Dean asks him, were you looking at the plates when you called them in? He says, no, sir. Now, he states that dispatch told him it was a 99 Toyota. They replayed the call. It was indeed Andrew Colburn that gave the information to dispatch that it was a 99 Toyota. He says that he was not looking at the plates when he called them in. Dean was like, because you shouldn't have been, but because the car wasn't discovered for a few more days. These cops were not the bright. If this is a frame-up job, it's the worst frame-up job ever. Maybe they figure that no one was going to care. They could just throw Stephen Avery away for another 18 years. What are the odds that a documentary film crew are going to be there getting all of this on film? Bad luck for the police station, because everything that they did is documented, is recorded. The documentary film crew has all of the information, which makes the Manitowoc County, Calumet County, everybody involved in the prosecution look absolutely terrible. Just brutal. Brutal. But that's where we're going to end episode number 5 of my Making a Murderer review. And I got to tell you, everything about this case is absolutely bonkers. I haven't seen one thing that actually states that it seems like was found honestly that proves to Stephen Avery's guilt, that proves to Brendan Dassey's guilt, especially Brendan. There's no way you could convince me that Brendan ever had anything to do with this case. Brendan had nothing to do with this. Nothing. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you again soon.